So I'm going to record this for the people that are missing. So given this stuff, find cotangent. This is back to chapter 5. Remember what we did every time. Anytime they gave us information, how did we start off with problems? X, Y, and R. That's the key to this stuff. X, Y, R. So the first thing they told us was the first ordered pair is negative radical 33 and 7. What do we know from that? 7's the R. That's my X. That's my Y. Whatever's on bottom, when it's equal, that's going to be my radius. So my radius is 7. My X is square root of 33. Which one of those things is negative? Is it the X or the R? X, because R is never negative. And my Y is going to be 4. There's my setup. I haven't rewritten those on the unit circle yet, but it's cotangent. So look at your paper. What do I need in order to get cotangent? X over Y. Cotangent of theta is X over Y. So all I need to do is plug in my X, negative radical 33, over my Y, 4, done. Can't have radicals where? At the bottom. Radicals on the top are great. Radicals on the bottom are bad. Questions on the first one? Question 2. We're finding amplitude, period length, and phase shift. Amplitude, period, well, that's not a P. Period length and phase shift. Amplitude, remember when we graph these things, amplitude is how much you've been stretched up and down. What's my amplitude going to be on this first graph? Amplitude is whatever number's in front. That's how much you go up. So I'd go up 5 and down 5 from the midline. Period length. Anytime we talk period length, we always started with the base period length. This is a cosine graph. So when we do cosine, what's our base? That's 2 pi. Our base, what's cosine's 2 pi? What's sine? Sine is 2 pi. Which one's 1 pi? Tangent. When you go tan and you eat less pi, tangent is 1 pi. That one's 2 pi though. We start off with 2 pi and then we multiply by the reciprocal of whatever's in front of our x. So what's in front of our x here? 2 pi. What's the reciprocal of 2 pi? 1 over 2 pi. I am multiplying by fractions. I'm multiplying fractions, so when I multiply fractions, I multiply straight across. So that's like 2 pi over 1. That's 1 over 2 pi. What can I do? Cancel 2 and pi. My period length is just 1. It's 2 pi divided by 2 pi. It cancels to get you 1. Last thing is phase shift. Phase shift is the horizontal shift, and there's something in front of my parentheses. This was the confusing one. Okay? What do we start off? Which direction did I shift, left or right? Right, because it says minus, so that takes me right 5 pi. We start off with that. And just like period length, we multiply by the reciprocal of whatever's in front of my x. So I'm going to multiply by 1 over 2 pi. What kind of simplifying can I do? Not cross multiply, it's fractions. We multiply straight across. What? Cancel out the 5s. 5 halves is my answer. And we're going to the right. Not only is it 5 halves, but it's 5 halves to the right because we do the opposite. It says minus, so we go right. Questions there? Again, there's 22 questions on the final. We've done 2 of them. That's 2 out of 22. Neither of those are crazy hard if you know what you're doing. Oh, next one is graph. What does it say? It says it on your paper, doesn't it? 3 sine 2x minus 1. Okay, here we go. Y, yeah, it's y equals 3 sine x, 3 sine 2x minus 1. Every time we do a problem like this, we do amplitude, we do period length, we do phase shift, or horizontal shift and vertical shift. That's our steps to graphing a tangent graph, or to graph any trig graph, sorry. Jacob, what's my amplitude going to be? Amplitude's the number in front. So it's 3. My amplitude is 3 because it's this number right here. That's right. That's why we're learning. Period length. What's my base period length, Robbie? We start off with 2 pi, and then we got to multiply by the reciprocal of whatever's in front of my x. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of 2, so it's 1/2. When I multiply those things together, what can I do? I got a 2 and 2. We get pi for our period length. Next thing is horizontal shift. To go horizontal, we're thinking left or right. Is there anything added or subtracted inside of parentheses? Do you see any parentheses? No parentheses, so no horizontal shift. Then we go to vertical shift. Vertical shift is whatever's tagged on the end, whether it says up or down, and we do what it says. So which direction did I shift? Vertical, it's either up or down. Down 1, it's minus, so we go down 1. Remember how we graph these things. First thing we always do is we make our x-axis and our y-axis, and we put 4 hash marks. What's our 4th hash mark going to be? Just pi, because that's my period length. So this is 1 pi. This is half of that, so this is pi over 2. This is half of a half, so this is pi over 4. 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Yeah. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my midline. Okay, that's my vertical shift. So my midline is down 1. So that means I'm going to go down 1 on my axis, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line. Right there. This is at -1. That's my midline. Then we do amplitude. So we started our midline, and then we've got an amplitude. Our amplitude in this case is 3. That means I'm stretching 3. It means I'm going up 3, and I'm going down 3 from that line. Okay, so from here I'm counting up 1, 2, 3. So I'm up to 2. It's like -1 plus 3. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3 to -4. That's the bottom of my graph. That's the top of my graph. Everything's going to live in between those 2 lines. And then finally, we're going to graph a sine graph. So when we do a sine graph, where am I going to start to make my sine graph? Sin in the middle. We're sinning in the middle. We're starting right here at that spot. So we're in the middle. Once I've gone middle, on the next hash mark, where am I going to go? Top. We go middle, top. Next hash mark, we're back to the middle. Next hash mark, we're back to the bottom, and then back to the middle again. There's my sine curve. Where does cosine start? Cosine's at the top. We start in the middle, up, middle, bottom, middle. Is that it? Yep, that's it. All right.